Namaskar. Salam Sajatra. Hope you are having a great start to the new year. I also hope fondly that you are enjoying watching the episodes of Oral History of Indian Diaspora in Indonesia. Today we present the 14th episode featuring an entrepreneur, business person, professional of the highest caliber. Shri Vikram Sinha has been the CEO of Indosat, a name familiar to all of us in Indonesia, and has been leading the company from the front for the last several years. Indosat has become a household name in Indonesia, not only Indonesia, but globally. And they are pioneering into new areas, particularly in the area of AI. Their large language model, Sahabat, is now the buzz of the AI world. Come friends, let us listen to the story of Vikram Sinha, what brought him to Indonesia, and how he is making his presence felt in the telecom and the wider telecommunication digital ecosystem of Indonesia.
Namaskar Vikram, welcome to Oral History of Indian Diaspora in Indonesia. By tenure, you are the youngest in Indonesia to be on this podcast. By your tenure in Indonesia. So we are very excited. I'm sure the audience is equally. Let's start with your roots, right? So where do you come from in India? Tell us about growing up there and tell us about your parents as well.
No, first of all, it's an absolute honor, what you just said. By tenure, I am the youngest. So thank you very much for even considering me to be on this special podcast. Coming back to your question, I come from a relatively small city or town in Indonesia called Jamshedpur. Jamshedpur is known as the steel city of India. It is in the eastern part of India. So I grew there and my dad used to work with Tata Steel. My mother, she used to be the professor and then she became the principal of the B.Ed college which trained teachers.
Sure.
So very strong educational background.
Very nice, very nice. So you did your schooling and college as well in Jamshedpur?
I did my schooling from Jamshedpur and then, this is a funny story.
Mm-hmm.
I think I used to be good in badminton. So I used to play those days. Bihar, Jharkhand was one state and I used to be on under 15. I used to be playing good badminton. And while playing badminton in Jamshedpur, I got into Bangalore Prakash Padukun camp and all. So I was very impressed that and then because I'd gone for some training into that camp. So after my 10th, I chose to go to Bangalore for my +2.
Okay.
While I had to leave badminton because then I realized I used to be among the top 5 in Bihar, but when it goes to Prakash Padukun camp, even a good women player can beat you. That was a good wake-up call. But that landed me to Bangalore. I did my +2. And then again, very interesting, growing up those days, coming from an educational family background, if you're not doing engineering, if you're not doing medical, or if you're not preparing for IAS, IPS, you're not doing anything in life. But, I was one of those kids who got a lot of support from my parents. So after doing my +2, I got into engineering college. But I first year of my engineering, I lost my mother. And then I told my dad, I don't like engineering, So he said, no worries, you do what you like. And then I joined Bachelor of Business Management. So it was again very weird, leaving an engineering course.
Midway?
Within first 6 months, first semester itself.
Okay.
Early days of engineering, not midway, I'll say. But I think the key point I want to make here is two. One, things were changing in India also. There were other options coming up and places like Bangalore and all, they value a lot things like Bachelor of Business Management.
Sure.
While still, engineering was still the craze, medical was still the craze.
If I may, which year was this?
I think 1994.
And it didn't take much convincing on your part to your father for you to switch.
Not at all, he was so clear, and that is what I feel, the kind of supporting and backing, and there was quite an amount of fees also paid.
Exactly.
But he told me that please do what you want to do, what you will love doing, and that was his support to me.
Well, that's really wonderful. I'm sorry, but mine is the exact opposite one. I wanted to study psychology. My father pushed me to study engineering. So I always keep saying I've done 3 years of diploma in 5 years because I never liked it. But this is really wonderful. So you did your bachelor's in management.
Yes, I did my Bachelor of Business Management from Bangalore. And then, when I was on my final year, I was doing my intern. And during those days, mobile was a craze. So just holding that Siemens with a big thing. In fact, first training I did on pager.
Sure.
And Bangalore was always ahead. These were the cities, top 4 cities where this technology was coming. So in my third year, in fact, second and third year I did on paging. And then on my final year, I was doing on the mobile company. Just because I wanted to hold the mobile. Those days, incoming call used to be some
16 rupees, 18 rupees, yeah.
18 rupees,
Yeah.
but it was a status symbol.
Correct.
So because I had done that training, and then when I completed my Bachelor of Business Management, I had come for a vacation. I had come home back in Jamshedpur. The plan was to again go back for further studies. And again, one of my friend had a franchisee of mobile from that state. So because of my interest and what I had done in Bangalore, again I joined them, just selling mobiles and all.
So these are devices, mobile devices or?
Early days of selling prepaid, postpaid connection.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
So again, I want to tell you, the whole kick of holding mobile was a status symbol. So,
Sure.
in fact, prepaid was not there. It was only selling postpaid.
Only postpaid back then.
It was postpaid plans and all. So I was doing that during my vacation in Jamshedpur. And then this is again a very funny story.
Sure.
There was a very big concert happening, and I was there. And Coke was that time launching in India. And one of the very senior guy, the general manager and the marketing manager, saw me in this concert. I must be doing something funny. And next day I get a call that, Coke want to buy some postpaid connection. The plant was very far away from where my office was, around 25 kilometers. And during those days, having a bike. So I said, why don't I need to go, there is a franchisee nearby, somebody can go from there. But the request was very specific, they wanted me to come for that. And I got a request from somebody senior. So I said, okay, I go there. Within 30 minutes, I realized that they are not trying to buy from me. They are interviewing me.
Okay.
And then within a month, I got a job offer from Coke as a sales trainee.
Okay.
And then I became sales executive within 6 months. I started enjoying, then within 1 year, I became marketing operational executive. So I started doing well. This is so interesting. And my marketing manager left, and I was giving that acting role. And, that is how I spent 2 years in Coke. But my general manager told me something, because something struck me, When I was doing this job, I had somebody called young leader coming and joining them as assistant manager HR. He come from an IIM Ahmedabad background. So what struck me is that, his starting point itself is here and I'm starting from here. So he's on a fast track Formula One track because he has come from IM. Yeah. People coming from India will understand these are premium institute. And my general manager told me, Vikram, you will always have this pain if you don't do your proper MBA from a good college. And that was the trigger. So I applied for CAT and I got through and I got IMI Delhi.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was joining IMI, Coke was very kind. They wrote a very strong recommendation and that led to a pre-placement offer. So when I completed my MBA, I got a pre-placement. I joined Coke back again as marketing manager.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
that is how
Okay.
I started my career.
Oh, that's really interesting. Okay. So you are at Coke. What happens next? How you enter the telco world?
Yes, so Coke was great. I was in Maharashtra. I was in Mumbai. Doing very well. But I got an offer from Star TV.
Okay.
Very interesting business. I don't know how much you know about cable industry.
I do.
And I got some tough market. So I got to work for states like Odisha, Jharkhand, Bihar. But again, I must be around 28, 29. The kick was, I used to know someone who used to travel extensively. He will be checking into Calcutta, one of the 5-star, and traveling to Jamshedpur. The lifestyle, was very interesting. But the job was not that interesting, dealing with cable operators.
Cable operators.
Yeah, so I was managing.
Most of the time, I believe it was majorly cable mafia, I would rather say.
Yeah. So those early days, cable operator always used to be the stronghold guy because everything was unorganized. But the whole glamour, of Star TV. So again, I joined on the distribution side, handling cable operator. And a lot of people will ask me when I say I'm working with Star TV. I said, we don't see you on the TV. I said, no, I don't do that glamorous side of the work. But that led to a lot of traveling and it led to a lot of exposure. All my international travel started happening.
Sure. You remember your first international trip?
Yes. I remember my first trip. I'd done earlier trip, but officially my first trip with Star TV was to Australia because I was also selling National Geography Channel.
Oh.
As part of a bouquet. So we have done well, and then I was also invited to London for the Grammy Award.
Sure.
So I had a good run with Star TV. But, as I told you, cable business was not very structured. It was a zero-sum game.
Correct.
So you are a cable operator. I come to you and I tell you, you are paying for 300 subscription. Now you have to pay for 500. What you have connected, nobody knows.
Correct.
Whether you have 100,000 or you have, that number was not scientifically arrived. So there used to be either you win or I win. It was a zero-sum game. So some dispute happened in some state and these guys were all very stronghold.
Yeah.
So it got flared up and I had to resign overnight because there was a dispute which really got flared up and my parents did not wanted me to deal with, in state of Jharkhand and Bihar with all these operators. So while I resigned, immediately I got an offer from Bharti Airtel, and that is how I got into. In fact, my first offer was those days Idea Cellular, and then Bharti Airtel. So this is how I started my journey in the telco industry in India.
What was your first role with Bharti Airtel?
So again, very interesting. I was heading a state called Chhattisgarh.
Oh, very difficult one.
Oh, it is a very, 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 I had a very good run. So Bharti Airtel was on 1800 megawatts. So in India, early days, if your circle is on 900, you had a head start. 1800, you will always struggle. So we were the only, because MP Chhattisgarh was one state.
Yeah.
But because Chhattisgarh was a state, there was separate license fees. In 3.5 years, we moved from number 4 to number 2. It was a complete turnaround on a 1800 circle,
Wow.
which was unheard of. So that was my batch in Airtel. That put me on a fast track with Bharti Airtel. So I have very good memories of Chhattisgarh.
Share some tricks or inputs with all of us. How does one go about this, doing a turnaround? Because as we will see in later part of your career as well, there are a lot of turnarounds. I believe that's a recurring theme, right? So just share a bit.
I think one thing which have stayed with me, I can really call it out. So, my Gallup score was 4.99. So I had around 200 people in my team. So 4.99 Gallup score. So Gallup did a proper audit. It was too good to be true. But I was not even knowing audit was happening. But, then they realized it is all correct. So the point is, it's all about working with people, winning with people. So my strength throughout has been, and that is what in Chhattisgarh also on 1800. But I got support. I got support in terms of the investment.
Sure.
But the real strength was winning with people, galvanizing large team.
Sure.
That has been a theme for me continuously.
So would it be fair to say that empathy is also one of your core traits?
It comes when you talk about people. Empathy is a very core element,
Correct.
but it is one of the core strengths. But the other way of looking at it is, I always believed in surrounding myself with people who are better than me.
Sure.
They pull you up. So, and the third piece around that has been very authentic leadership. You attract talent. You make good people work with you.
Yeah.
But yes, empathy is very, very important.
Sure. So you were at Bharti Airtel, handling Chhattisgarh. What happens next?
I think, as I told you, it was first 3 years was 1800 circle, real limelight, because a lot of senior leaders came. And then when my role change was due, and I was getting considered for a bigger role in Maharashtra and some other circle, suddenly I was called and given an option to do a HR head role.
Okay.
This is again a very interesting story. So my first reaction was, if there is a fitment issue, you tell me. I have a lot of other options. He said, I still remember my boss showing a newspaper article in Economic Times, which talked about Unilever and Infosys, that how they are rotating people from business to HR and back to business. And I think because of my Gallup score, because of this turnaround, Bharti Airtel also wanted to test this. And I was one of the chosen one. I have to tell you, I was very surprised. First of all, I had never thought that somebody will offer me a head of HR role, So the only advice I got from my boss was, one, this is for you, Vikram. Forget about other things, but don't speak to too many people. You will get confused. Speak to few people whom you think who can guide you. So what happened was, I spoke to my dad. He had come from an HR background. He was an Tata Steel HR professional, very strong HR background. So I was trying to tell him that, look, Papa, I want to do 2 years and go back. He smiled at me. He said, if you want to do, don't say 2 years, 3 years, do properly. What will happen will follow. But don't do half-heartedly. That was the only advice. But
Solid advice.
I spoke to a few more people, they only scared me. He said, what will happen? I kept telling this 2-3 years, I want to go back to business. They said, Vikram, after 2-3 years, neither you will be HR nor business. You will be nowhere. But, I took this plunge. And that changed my trajectory. While I did well on the HR function, I used to look at HR. I did some national project. I did a lot of things. But my incremental learning during those time was highest. Me, myself, how much I was learning. And second, I got a lot of support from my CEO. HR role can only be unlocked properly if the CEO supports you properly on creating value. So this is where I got to see the whole organization. There are very few functions in an organization which have visibility to all function. So being in HR really gave me the full perspective. It gave me a lot of incremental learning. And then after 2.5 years, I got a request from Bharti Airtel that let's do one more HR role. UPU is becoming a big circle. You did some project with that CEO. He won't. So I said, look, my heart is back on business. I want to go back to business. So they respected that. So I came back to sales and marketing after that. And that HR role had put a fast track on my career path. After doing that sales and marketing role, I had done India, a bit of it. And then Airtel was investing in Africa. And this is where I told I want to do something new. And I got an option. Initially, I was supposed to go to Zambia, but I landed in Seychelles. I don't know how many of you know about Seychelles. It's the smallest, one of the smallest countries in the world with 92,000 population. But I landed there as the country MD.
Okay.
So again, very interesting, when I got to know about Seychelles, people used to tell me that, look, in Calcutta, in one stadium, you have more than 100,000 people. The population of that country is 92,000. Are you on a vacation for a longer vacation, or what are you trying to do? But look, I've been, this is what I always say, you have to be bold. Was I ready for some of these roles? The answer is no. What people don't realize, country MD CEO role is much bigger than a bigger country. You are doing a vertical role, So again, it was an amazing experience. When you go to a small country and when you are doing an MD role of a country, you get to learn a lot. And second, because it was a small country, the capability, you can't afford to have very senior guys, a lot of expats. So I used to work with a lot of locals. So it also taught me how to adapt. And that was my journey of getting started, of becoming a global manager. Out of 11 direct reportees, 9 was women.
Wow.
Because some of these island culture, women are more disciplined and all, So that is why I have very high respect. And I always talk about equal opportunity for women. I saw how disciplined and how different perspective they brought. But again, very good 2.5 years. The company had struggled. The EBITDA margin had dropped to 16, 17. I got it back to 48, 49%, got chairman award. And then I was given a next role for going to Nigeria. And I was not very comfortable with the security and all, because whichever country I go with family. So with my style of operating, somewhere I was not very comfortable. But I landed in Congo, Brazzaville. Congo, Brazzaville was the first country where an English-speaking guy was taking a chief operating officer role. Again, a very important role. There was a merger between Warid and Airtel, which has been on the card. I landed there. Everything was on French. Dealing with translator, learning French. Again, you don't have to be ready. If there's an opportunity, say yes and learn it. That has been my mindset. While I was doing all those things, I had completed quite a significant time with Bharti Airtel. And I was in MWC Congress, Barcelona. I saw Messi and Ooredoo. I was finding it difficult to pronounce this word, but the whole launch was very glamorous. So I was thinking, if I get a chance to work with this company, why not? And, my luck has been on my side. I knew somebody senior there, and she had offered me before I was going to Seychelles. So I just wrote a note to her that I'm completing my Seychelles. I am going into a new country. So she said, for sure, why don't you come and meet us? And then again, immediately they offered me few options. So first option, they told me in a Middle East country as a number 2, or if you want to go as a CEO, we have Maldives for you. So, again, going back to my principle, I choose Maldives. I always prefer doing an independent role. And Maldives, this is how from Bharti Airtel I moved to Ooredoo Group.
Sure.
So my journey with them started with Maldives, which was their smallest country. But this company was doing loss for more than 8-9 years, making a loss of $14-15 million. In my first year, I closed it with $5 million US profit. Second year, 17 million. And as per license obligation, if you do 2 years of profit, you have to list that company. So I went through the whole listing, learning and all.
Oh, wow.
We listed the company. And third year, we did a profit of close to 38 million US dollar. So that was again a real, doing a full independent role, listing a company, making it profitable. It was quite a fulfilling role. And then from there to Myanmar to Indonesia, from the smallest on the Ooredoo group, I landed in their
Largest one.
Yes.
So turnaround is aptly the right word and is a recurring theme in your overall career. Before we start about your Indonesia journey, I would quickly want to touch upon your family aspect. It's a very challenging role. All these roles have been very challenging, I believe. I can only believe, starting from managing Chhattisgarh to Seychelles to Maldives, these are very challenging roles. So, and family plays a very crucial role in this. So, one, talk to us about your family. Who all are there in your family? And also talk to us, how does one operate these dynamics while being completely consumed by these numbers, the sheer number of people whom you're responsible for?
Yes, I think I've been very blessed that my wife Vartika and I have 2 kids. My son, he will be going to university next year. He'll be 18, and my daughter 15. So one thing, I picked up early, and I always stay consistent. Whichever country I went with family. Because if your family is not with you, your half of your mind is out. Correct? So you can't give your 100%. Second, by design, I always enjoy doing hard things. This mindset, if it is easy, everyone will do it. So hard things, I'll not say challenging. I have thoroughly enjoyed every country, because when you are enjoying something, you like doing hard things, you like taking challenge. So that is how it has been. But yes, once I reflect back, without the support from family, because it takes your time, it consumes a lot of your time. You have to do trade-off.
Yeah.
There are times where I am not able to attend the parents-teacher meeting, and there are times I felt that I have compromised on their time in terms of work, but they have supported me. I think that is how it has been. So overall, 2 things. One, I am not a very strong believer of work-life balance. It is all very integrated.
True.
How whatever time you spend with family, how they are supporting you, how they are encouraging you. This is one. Second, what you are working on, you must be passionate about it, and if you believe, and then the whole ecosystem become your family. I have extended family in Seychelles, Maldives.
Sure.
Here also, the kind of love and respect you get, that is what becomes your energy.
That is true. No, very, very well said. Especially, I would emphasize on the point which you mentioned, that it's more about work-life integration rather than balancing, because it's always very integrated. I mean, it's very difficult to, in today's time at least, to segregate it. I mean, with all this connectivity, definitely. Let's talk about Indonesia now. So you arrive in Indonesia 6 years ago?
I landed here in 2019 January, so it will be 7 years
7 years
next
now.
month.
You had, what kind of study did you do before coming to Indonesia?
So let me tell you, before coming to Indonesia, I would have done 4 countries, but the highest was 3.5 year Maldives. So generally I get bored 3.5, maximum 4. But when I was coming here, I was asked to come on a SOS. 2018 was a very catastrophic year for Indosat. Indosat had lost close to 40% of its value. The market cap had gone less than $1 billion. So it had gone up to the level of our chairman, and I got a clear ask from him that I need to be in Jakarta. So I started here as chief operating officer. Not much, to your point, what kind of pre-work. I was in Doha. They were telling me good and bad. I was in Singapore because before coming here, I was in Myanmar. So I used to work with a lot of Singaporean companies and a lot of good circle. So one of my very close friends, is very senior. He knows Indosat and Indonesia quite well. He said, Vikram, are you sure what you are getting into? So I said, why do you say so? He said, look, it's very challenging. It is very complex. The challenge for you is not only external, it is also internal. It's a very state-owned company bought over by Singaporean, then Qataris, and then there's a lot of legacy. So are you sure? I said, look, I have very high respect for my chairman, so there is no looking back. I will give my best to see at least he has given me so much of opportunity. So that was my mindset. But let me tell you, so when I landed here, and before landing here, I was operating as an independent CEO for 6-7 years.
Correct.
And I come here as COO. So, you know how the organization is, when you are a CEO, your logistics and all, you are more or less, you don't have to worry on a lot of things. The system takes care of it. I land here as CEO, new to this company, country, and with a lot of challenges. Generally, I don't look back, but my first 45 days, I was twice thinking, have I done the right thing? Where have I landed? And then, figuring out things. It was a scale organization, I have, but because I had come here as an advisor to CEO, I wanted to make sure that before I get into official BOD position and all, I travel the country first. And then I started traveling. When I started traveling, I started getting energy. I go to places like Kalimantan and meet people, and then I see how much they want to do for you. One example which really, really gave me a lot of comfort and confidence. So when I was in Kalimantan, I told the team to take me around 50 kilometers away. Because as a senior leader, you go there, they do everything orchestrated. They take you where you want to go. They give you everything, red carpet. I said, no, I'm here to learn and serve. So let's not worry about anything. I just told him a roadmap. And we go to a place which is 35 kilometers out of Kalimantan. I see that our network is still 3G. All other competition is 4G. Still the team is fighting. And they are still selling. Smangat, we will make sure we don't let you down. That spirit, gave me a lot of confidence that yes, while the headquarter team, they are so engrossed into meeting after meeting after meeting, but the real strength and energy is on the ground, and those people, they just want the right support. The second thing which really, really struck me is the power of Indosat brand, because the company had lost so much of value in 2018. And when I started traveling deep, I would have traveled to 15, 16 cities within 100 days. Even, I was in Padang. I still remember there was some government event happening. All the good hotels was booked. I had taken somebody from my Doha office also. He was always used to fancy good 5-star, and we were staying in a small. He was struggling changing his room and all. But I think the point which I am trying to make is I picked up the power of brand Indosat. Genuinely, people wanted Indosat to do well. And I started my career from Coke, from sales to marketing to brand team. I had always seen the power of brand. And then, within first 6 months, I picked up how powerful is Indosat brand. People have grown with this brand. This was the first company to connect Indonesia to the world through Satellindo. This was one of the marquee company to be listed in New York Stock Exchange.
Good.
That is why when you look at our office here, it is in the Ring 1.
The Ring 1, yes.
And, I had seen the power of brand with Coke. Till today, I will say Pepsi as my blue friend. We were taught not to even take competition names. So that brand piece. So two things struck me and gave me a lot of confidence. One is the Indosat brand, and second is people on the ground. And then there was no looking back. First 3 years back to back of double-digit growth, EBITDA growing better than revenue. But the investors and analysts was not taking us seriously for 10 quarter. After 10 quarter,
Wow.
Because one of the issue was consistency. We were always seen as okay, 1 year you have done well, next year you will drop. So once we delivered, I still remember they started paying attention to on our investor analyst call from 2021 onwards. So 2019, 2020, it took me 10 quarter to give confidence to especially the outside world, the investors and analysts, that we are into a real turnaround.
How does one go about this? I mean, you've been written off quarter after quarter. What kind of mindset one needs to have to be consistently at it?
I think the most important thing is, first, you have to believe, and you have to build a team who believe in the mission. And second, you have to just stay persistent. And there is no substitute to doing fundamentally right thing. Our business is not that complicated.
Yeah.
So we started investing on 4G network. We started investing on distribution. We started investing on people. We started investing on simplifying the journeys. We used to have unlimited plan, and my data traffic in 2019 will grow 60% and revenue will grow 4%. So am I working for YouTube, or am I working for bank, or am I working for Indosat?
The lines are blurred here.
Yeah. So I'm just trying. So we took a call that no unlimited. So you have to make those bold even, and you have to get your team to believe in it.
Sure.
And then you don't look back.
Definitely. You've traveled across Indonesia. You've worked across different teams here. You've collaborated with a lot of people, companies here. Tell us, what does it take for a CEO, an expat especially? Okay, let's narrow it down. An Indian expat CEO to succeed in Indonesia.
I think this question I have got few times. Let me tell you, while you said Indian expat, a lot of people have asked me, why do you see so many Indian CEOs or so many Indian leaders at a global stage? Is India a CEO factory? I think one of the things which you see from India is for people like me and all, the upbringing. Our upbringings are built around a lot of things in terms of, for getting into a good school also, if there are 50 seats, there are 5,000 students. So nothing comes easy. Correct? There is no sense of entitlement.
Yes.
And as we grow up, we grow up with that mindset that we have to earn it every day. Yes. Number one. Number two, I think this whole piece around empathy, integrity, respect, it's a bit of a DNA.
Correct.
Especially from India, people coming from middle class value system.
Yes.
Yeah. So that has worked, and a little bit of being strong with numbers also help. So I remember in Africa, I see how people struggle with number. If you go to a shop, if you do a transaction of 55, in India, what you do is, if you have a 100 rupee currency note, and if you have a 5, you will give 105.
Correct.
So
Just give me 50 back.
50 bucks. You try doing that here also,
Yeah.
everything will be jumbled.
Chaos.
Yeah, so they will put 100 also on the machine, 5 also on the machine. He said, you have given me 105, and then, so yeah, I think the point is, it's not that you have to be good in maths, but be strong in numbers. And that is, if you see in India, you go to a small shop also, they are good on numbers.
Yeah,
I'm not
very
trying
good.
to say that we have to be good. Second thing which I strongly feel is, look, English is not my mother language. Yeah. I reflect on myself. When I was given Congo, Brazzaville, it was a French-speaking country. Not that, I had little choice. The moment I was given Congo, Brazzaville, I started learning French. Because if you want to do hard things, you have to come out of your comfort zone. If you think you are ready for something and then you will always be behind. So English also in India, especially on these tier 2 cities, still, India is a large country. I think some of these things, and then I see Indian community here have established themselves very nicely. A lot of respect, because they have really integrated. They have respected the culture, value system.
Correct.
I feel much more at home in Indonesia compared the spices, the food, and also when you talk about these words, kameej,
Correct. Yeah.
so so a lot of similarities. In fact, I get amazed. Look, just outside my office, you have Arjuna.
Yes.
Boss, I have not seen it in India. How much I have seen the Mahabharata. How much. I'm not talking Bali. I'm talking Jakarta.
Yeah.
So if you go back, I'm not good at history, but this is one country I have been on record that while it has a very strong welcoming culture, but they really treat you, if you do good, they will really, any which way they are very, very good at welcoming, hospitality and all. But you spoke about empathy. When you have that, when you respect, it will come back to you. So overall, I think Indian community and Indian professionals have really done a good job. And I have met people, this country has grown over them, 30 years, 35 years. Their wife doesn't want to leave the country. I don't think a lot. I keep telling my wife that, look, I am a professional. In 6 months notice, be ready to go. Don't, because this place grows on you.
It definitely grows on you.
I have this one interesting thing I've heard from all the long timer who have been here for 15, 20, 30 years, that their wife refused to leave this place.
I'll courtesy to this series which we are doing for the Indian Embassy. I've had a chat to interact with folks who've been here for 40 years, 45 years, 30 years. Very accomplished folks, and one very interesting one. So this gentleman came here on a honeymoon with his wife, and wife's relative was working here. He came on the honeymoon and never went back.
Yeah.
They just loved the place. They started and ended up doing a business over here. So completely agreed. Approximately 7 years for you now in Indonesia. If you reflect, and if you have to share a few pointers for anyone who's starting today on their Indonesia journey, be it in a leadership role or a mid-management role, what will be some core advice, base core advice?
Three things very clearly which has helped me, and I'm sure if you follow. Number one, spend first 1 year 70-80% listening and understanding, and then trying to help people around you open up and then give you correct feedback. Basically, the first thing I am talking about is 70-80% listening and trying to adapt. Anybody trying to come here. Second, the biggest strength of Indonesia is if you write the SOP, standard operating process, your whole team will follow. I think this is the biggest strength. There are very few countries parallel to India. If I write SOP, everyone is very creative.
Yeah.
But here, let's look at a liftman. You see how nicely they'll be dressed and how they will do their job. So I think play on the strength.
True.
Play on the strength of the country. Bring clear SOPs. Stay consistent to that. And through the process of understanding and listening to them, try to get them and win them to be part of it. The last piece, what I felt, which is very, very helpful, was Jakarta is not Indonesia. You want to really, work in Indonesia, you have to understand the rural Indonesia. And you have to understand the power and the spirit of rural Indonesia is built around what I call it gotong royong, working for the larger purpose.
Correct.
People come together selflessly, trying to help. So this country is very blessed in terms of natural resources. Look at the GDP per capita. India is $3,000. This is 5,000.
Correct.
So how you can contribute without being over smart? I personally feel to do well in this country, you need to be wise, not smart.
True.
You need to be very, very authentic.
Let me repeat this for everyone. So to succeed in Indonesia, you need to be wise, not smart. More wise than smart, rather. That's a really good one. Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, these are some really solid advices, Vikram. I mean, I think you've summarized it really, really well. So what's next for you in terms of you and your growth journey with Indosat in Indonesia? You've made a turnaround. You successfully took it through the merger, which you had mentioned last time when we did this interview for the InChamps Leadership Masterclass that 8 out of 10 times it fails. And it's always the CEO's neck. And you have gone through this successfully, created, the merger was very smooth, the growth has been consistent. What's next for you? What's the next challenge for you?
No, I think, by the way, 92% historical data, when I was getting into merger, historical data said that 92% mergers are failure.
I noticed.
Yeah. But I break my Indonesia journey into 3 parts. My first was, Indosat, Ooredoo turnaround from a catastrophic 2018 to a complete 12 quarter of turnaround. And that is where merger happened. And I was very blessed and fortunate to be given this opportunity to lead merger. Within first 2 years, we were able to prove everyone wrong. And again, this is the power of Indonesia. Indonesia has a lot of growth opportunity. We became a global showcase on merger playbook. Even UK, everyone, Malaysia, Thailand, hopefully most of the mergers will be successful, but we set the tone. We became the global merger playbook. So last year in Capital Market Day, this was the question. It was not only for me and my core leadership team was what next? Because I look good because of all of them. I represent all of them, my bigger Indosat employee and my leadership team. So we again made a very bold statement. Generally, you don't see Telco going out on Capital Market Day and making forward-looking statement.
Correct.
We didn't give a guidance, but we said this is our ambition, that we want to double our EBITDA from a 1.4, 1.5 billion to close to 3. I had locked the currency, so that currency fluctuation is not put on me on a lost currency of 2023. And I think we are in that journey, and we really called it out that there are 3 pillars. First, we want to become an AI native telco ourselves. On that, we want to make sure our core business, which is a $3 billion plus B2C business, is growing close to double digit. And then Techco, we defined it very clearly, Neo AI cloud, and then security. And the third pillar was Indosat being such an iconic brand. We want to play our part on enabling Indonesia on the digital AI journey. How can we help Indonesia become a creator, infra country? So I think we are progressing on that. We have made those commitments. So I'm very focused on making sure that, this third part I conclude nicely. All in, this is where the mind and heart is for me and my leadership team.
Awesome. On wishing you success, and on that note, thank you so much for doing this, Vikram. We really appreciate you taking time. I am sure our audience will find this very engaging.
Thank you. It's an absolute honor, and look forward to supporting all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.